how we make a determination. It's not really a okay, you're approve or decline. It's more of a decision support for the business. So it's a very manual process today.
Okay, and you're responsible for handling that aspect of the process?
I am. I'm the Global Director of Credit and Collections for FIS.
All right, excellent. And kind of tell me what some of the challenges you feel that you're facing utilizing the credit risk monitor and the D&B platforms you're using now. What do you feel that they're falling short?
I really don't have challenges, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not automated, right? I mean, that probably will be the first thing. Or is challenges that stick out. I don't really have any challenges today.
Okay. Well, one of the things feedback that I get from a lot of credit managers from that are utilizing D&B or credit risk is that there's a lack of information on smaller privately held companies. Do you feel that you're kind of facing that issue as well?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, I think that's always the case, right? There is depending on the size of the company, and I would also say geography as well too, right? Because we're a global company as well. That could be, I guess, a pain point.
Okay. All right. Well, obviously, when you used e-credit in the past, you obviously what some of the things that you were using with e-credit? Because I know that's a end-to-end, more fully integrated platform that we have as a sister company of ours. But what were some of the things you were using with that platform?
Oh man, that was just 10 years ago. I mean, I think we used and I was actually part of the team that rolled this out, but I think we just used the workflow, right? We would have all our requests coming through into a queue and process them through e-credit. I can't remember specifically. Again, this is a while ago.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. All right, but you found that it was more of a soups to nuts kind of more user-friendly platform, like you said?
Yeah, it was. I think so.
Okay. All right. Well, you'll see here with Cortera Pulse that we're kind of in the same space, and we kind of we've developed all of this to be more user-friendly and automate your process, and kind of help you fill in the missing data gaps on those smaller privately held companies. Because, as you know, we've been around for quite some time, over 20 years now, and we have reached a huge milestone. I think I mentioned that to you when I had called you. We've now exceeded Dun & Bradstreet as far as our coverage of commercial trade data on privately held companies. Right now, it exceeds 1.45 trillion in annual B2B spend, and we have coverage on over 25 million unique business locations in North America. That's U.S. and Canada. So the network has grown substantially and continues to grow at an exponential rate because of the user friendliness. We're making constant upgrades and updates to our system, but also the information that we provide is very unique and basically helping you make those decisions on privately held companies that other data providers just lack. So what I'm going to go ahead and do with you, Tavoris, is kind of just go over a brief history on Cortera and where we came from, where we're going, and then kind of dive into the platform, show you the key features and benefits. And if at any point you have any questions or want me to dive deeper into something, go ahead and feel free to stop me at any time, okay?
Okay.
All right, so as I mentioned to you before, Cortera was started over 20 years ago by a gentleman by the name of Jim Swift. He came from the world of commercial data, and he saw that there is a strong need to help fill in information gaps on privately held companies because, consumer credit, there's a treasure trove of information, and all the credit bureaus obviously share their information and get information from the credit that is issued to consumers. So he saw obviously that if we kind of follow the same model of consumer credit, as far as the sharing of payment experiences on private companies, how we can obviously make the world as far as commercial credit a better place. So because of that, we've been able to grow the network at such a fast rate of speed because all of the companies that are part of our network, the Cortera Credit Exchange, are required to share their trade data. So all of the information that you see is compiled and aggregated amongst all of the companies in the network. And then we, of course, do our analytics, and we're able to provide these timely reports. So all this information is real time, and it's based on actual payment experiences. It's not predictive in nature. So it'll help you be more proactive in your decision-making process. Does that sound like something that sounds fascinating to you?
Yeah, it sounds good.
All right, excellent. So what you're going to do in exchange for submitting your trade data to us every month is we'll monitor each and every customer that you have an active balance with across these 6 different categories for risk. Can you see my screen here, Tavoris?
I have you up, yep.
Okay. So some of these might look familiar. You have credit risk, overall payments, peer payments, bankruptcies, court filings, and news alerts. Now, as far as bankruptcies and court filings, we have a direct link to Pacer. You're familiar with Pacer, right?
I am.
Okay, so we get all of these court filings and tax liens, civil judgments, all practically in real time. And then 2 unique alerts that are really make Cortera stand out is peer payments and news alerts. Now with peer payments, we show you how other companies like you are getting paid within our network. So it's very industry specific. It gives you an idea of how you're getting paid. And then of course, news alerts, we have basically taught our computer systems to comb the web and basically extract relevant articles on your customer base right down to the local level. So we're not just talking the usual New York Times or Wall Street Journal, but right down to smaller privately held companies to help you basically kind of stay ahead of the curve in making those credit decisions. And all of your alerts, of course, are summarized on this dashboard here, which you will have access to with the username and password. So you'll have access to it 24/7. And then you have an unlimited number of users who will have access to this platform and an unlimited number of customers that we will monitor. Now, in exchange for setting us your AR data every month, we'll give you full access to this platform and these alerts at 0 cost. So we've actually grown to such a size that we can now offer these services, these basic services for free. And of course, there's things on the back end that support us financially, such as API connections or batch appends that you have the option of purchasing, but it's not mandatory. But we have the e-credit platform, as I mentioned to you, that banks and larger institutions utilize that spend millions of dollars with us. That, like I said, have allowed us to offer these basic services to you guys at no cost. So all of these alerts, like I said, you'll see here the company, the total balance, you'll see the news alert and any details on those alerts. All of these alerts you can sort by any particular preferences that you have. And of course, everything is exportable and they're saved for the last 30 days. Any questions so far about those alerts?
No question.
Okay. Now, if you want to go ahead and see more information on a particular alert, all you need to do is click here to go ahead and expand it. Or if you want to click on a link to a news alert, you just click here and it takes you right to the relevant news article. If there's any significant drop in a credit score, you can go ahead and click here and see the details on that. Or if there's any court filings as well, it'll show you more details in regards to any bankruptcies or court filings.
Hey, Chris, can you talk more about, so you're not using any data from D&B in your site, right?
No, we're not. We don't share any data with D&B. We don't have any affiliation with them whatsoever.
So what is your credit score based on?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and show that to you in a minute here. As far as a credit score, there's like 500 different data elements that go into calculating the credit score.
Okay.
But you know, as far as the primary things that we look at, of course, is how the company is spending their money and how fast they're paying other suppliers within our network that are reporting on trade.
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and show you. I'm going to show you in a minute the credit report and how we're able to come up with the scores in those credit reports. But to kind of streamline everything, Tavoris, so that you don't have to keep logging into the online platform, you're going to get a single daily email that looks like this. And this kind of automates the process for you. So all of the alerts, whether it be significant change in overall payments or peer payments or any bankruptcies and news alerts, you'll get those on that single daily email to kind of, like I said, automate the process and make it streamlined for you. And then in addition to those daily alerts, you're going to receive the monthly CFO report. This is kind of gives you a bird's eye view of your entire AR portfolio. You see here you have your aging buckets here, your risk distribution of your customer base. You'll have the portfolio risk profile quilt. It kind of is color-coded for ease of reference, like a traffic signal. You know, red being stop, slow down, higher risk, trending down, and then green being lower risk, trending up companies, and of course, orange and yellow are caution in between. Here's some key trends of the portfolio over the last few months. And then you'll see here your top 10 account balances and those scores in there. And then on the second page, we have the highest risk accounts. These are your problem children. These are the companies that are slow paying others and they're declining in their payments. So you need to go ahead and keep a watchful lookout for these companies. And then on the last page, you're going to have your high collectability accounts. This is your low hanging fruit. These are the companies that are paying others in our network faster than they're paying you. So you can go ahead and hand this to your collections team and say, hey, you know, let's reduce the DSO on some of these outstanding balances.
Right.
So does that make sense to you? See how that can add value to your collections process?
Yeah, I like it. I like that everything is in one spot. So here, I have a question, and hopefully I'm not getting ahead of myself.
Sure. No.
So let's say do you have, or is there a workflow within Cortera where for my new clients where I can bring them through and get an approval or denial?
Absolutely, yes. I'm going to show that to you right now.
Okay.
So let's just say you have a new customer that you want to go ahead and onboard and do a credit check on. All you do is you can either, you can go ahead and type their company names, city, state, and street address in here. And then once, you know, obviously you see their results in the search queue here, you can click on it. We're going to use Berry Global Group as an example because they've allowed us to use them for demonstration purposes. So you see here, you click on Buy Report. Now, the reports at one point used to cost anywhere from $2.50 for a single page flash report all the way to $6 for a multiple page deep dive report. And also for the credit decision scorecard here. Now, these are now free of cost to data contributors, new data contributors in the network. So now we're going to go ahead and show you as an example that instant credit decision as far as automating your workflow that you mentioned to me. Now, you can go ahead and use our Cortera default scorecard, or you can customize a scorecard to your specific preferences. And you'll have a dedicated account manager like myself that will help you come up with the scorecard that best fits your needs. But we're going to use the Cortera default as an example. So you go ahead and click that, and then you click Buy Report. While the report is being generated, the decision will pop up here in a window, whether an approved, pending, or denied decision. And then you'll have here the scorecard details. It'll give you the different variables, the value, the points, and the weight distribution of those points and variables to kind of give you an idea how we came up to the score. It'll give you an aggressive credit limit and a conservative credit limit based on percentage of the highest balance. So do you see how that can automate your credit decisioning process there, Tavoris? Any questions about that?
Sorry, I was just talking, but I was on mute. No
worries.
question. I really like this. But how does your portfolio of clients compare international, like Europe and APAC?
We do not have any coverage as far as Europe or anything outside of the U.S. and Canada. All of our coverage is only North America.
Okay. Meaning Canada as well.
Canada as well. That's it. So that's basically the scorecard, and I'm going to go ahead and show you the credit report and some of the key scores that you had asked me about earlier. Okay, so you look at the top of the credit report here, Tavors, you see our Cortera score. Now, this is modeled after a consumer FICO score. It's a 100 to 900 range. The higher the score, the lower the risk of delinquency over the next 12 months. So you see here, this company, Berry Global, is an 866 out of 900. So there's a very low risk of delinquency. And then you see here the payment rating score, or CPR score. This is kind of, if you're familiar with Dun & Bradstreet's Paydex score, only ours is 3 digits, theirs is 2. Now this is once again a 100 to 900 range, and it gives you basically a look back over the last 3 months on how they're paying their suppliers. They're 682, so they're relatively low risk. Payment risk segment, this kind of gives you an idea of how much their payment risk over the last 3 to 6 months. It's a 1 to 6 scale. It's consistently lower risk at a 5. Industry benchmark. Now, once again, this gets very specific as far as how this company, Berry Global, is paying relative to their others in their industry. They're paying about 6.5 days versus the average of 5.3 days. But they're a larger company, so they kind of got to get away with being a little bit later on their payments. Now, spending growth index, as I mentioned to you, this is kind of gives you an idea of how the company is doing financially, whether they're spending their dollars on growing the company, they're stagnant, or they're declining in their growth. Now, why does this matter? It matters because, you know, when a company is spending a lot on materials and shipping, you know that they're moving product, they're generating revenues, and they're growing. Now, if these were on a precipitous decline, such as, for example, Toys R Us, they were paying all their creditors and things of that nature, their vendors on time, operations was going up, but materials and shipping were on a very fast decline. So we were able to accurately predict months in advance that Toys R Us was going to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and before it was able to happen. So credit managers were able to, within our network, make proactive steps to mitigate that risk, as opposed to waiting till they close their doors and having to deal with the courts. So that's basically why we report on all this total known spend of over $940 million. And that's based on this number here. You see this number here, Tavors?
Yep, 212.
212 companies. These are unique business locations in the Cortera Credit Exchange network that are submitting their trade experience, their trade data on Berry Global. So if Berry Global was a customer of yours, you'd be number 213. And so we take all that spend information and we're able to accurately predict how the company is doing. We give you these information such as their score history and CPR history over the last few months. Then you see their average days beyond term here, and then where they stand on the payment risk segment quilt. Then you have here family payment experience, payment aging details, and this is all throughout all the companies, all 212 companies in our network. And then it gets more granular as you go further into the report. It goes into materials, operations, and shipping. So, for example, you see here in the materials, there's building, electronics, packaging, textiles, operations, publishing, construction, and hardware, IT. I'm assuming that FIS would fall under information technology?
That's right.
Okay, so you'd probably be number 3 on here on this list of suppliers, and it shows you, you know, your average days beyond term is 14.6 days, and then here's your aging details amongst those suppliers. So you'd just be a number here, so no one would have an idea that, this is a customer of yours. All of your data that you submit to us is anonymized and encrypted with the highest level of security, because we deal with banks and other larger financial institutions. So we have very high security and data protection protocols. And then if you get further into the report, it gets more granular as far as the different suppliers and vendors within within our network reporting on trade. And then, like I said, it gets more detailed as you go further into the report. And then we have here recent news headlines, corporate demographics, competitor information, corporate structure, income statements, balance sheets, SEC statements, corporate filings, UCC filings. It's all in here.
Yeah, I really like this. I really like it. What are your practices on like invoices that may be disputed, like in a trade contributor file? How do you guys go about doing that?
If there's any discrepancy as far as payment terms is concerned?
No, let's just say if I have Bank of America and they have a known dispute, do I just not send that file to you, or can I put some point in there to notify you that it's disputed? How do you guys normally treat that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you have any special conditions with a customer or vendor, all you need to do is specify those special terms and understandings on those accounts in our data submission when you submit your data. So if you see here, it says that there's special terms, understandings of certain accounts. You can just go ahead and comment that on the data file submission when you send it to us, along with the aging buckets, and then these key data elements in these file formats.
Right. Okay.
And then you can either send your file to us to this email, or we can do it as a secure file transfer as well.
All right. Okay.
Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay, excellent. So, do you see how Pulse can streamline and automate your process, help you fill in the information on private companies there?
Yeah, I like this. A question I have for you is, like, for
sure.
one of the problems that I have, like, I didn't mention this at the beginning, was with D&B and some of the other guys. Is there or not, our competitors, right? I mean, we're a small, I wouldn't say small market, but as far as the number of players, it's not that many. But how is there a way for me to I guess understand how many tech companies are within the network? Because I just want to make sure that there is of my clients, there's enough people within my space reporting there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I mean, we do have in the tech space, we do have some fairly large companies. I can't really disclose any names.
Sure.
We have NDAs, but you can see just a few of the testimonials if you go on the Cortera website of the some of the larger players that we're dealing with as far as other industries are concerned. So if you're going to go to the Cortera website, I'm going to go ahead and pull that over here right on my screen. Just bear with me. All right. So, it's Fortune 500 companies, the small companies. You see here just a few of the names that we have, allowed us to show, that they're part of the network and some of the benefits they've had with us. Some major players like Cargill. Crestmark.
I see one competitor already. John Carver.
Ferguson.
Yeah, John Carver was my boss at Ferguson. He's since retired, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk. I have a hard cutoff here. So let's talk about cost. I know there are probably different different tiers or levels of your cost, but can you talk a little bit about cost to me?
Well, like I said, this is everything that I just showed you is free of cost. So you get the monitoring, the unlimited number of customers and users to the platform. You get the unlimited credit reports, like I showed you, as well as the credit score decisioning, all at zero cost. And that's simply for submitting your trade data. You see, Divorce, we're following the same model as like LinkedIn, if you want to kind of keep it in as an example. Where, you know, we're LinkedIn, you can post your profile, you can contact other individuals on LinkedIn network. But there's, of course, LinkedIn Premium that's available to you if you want to get, you know, more services and more information. That's the same concept as well.
Right. And as far as the credit reports decisioning, I'm sure there's a cost to that, right?
No, that's included in the free service.
And then the premium service you're talking about, what exactly is that?
Yeah, if you want to do like portfolio scoring, I'm going to go ahead and show you that right here. So if you go to the Vitals tab, okay, it shows you, you know, how your entire AR portfolio is doing. And then if you want to go ahead and let's just say, see here in the profile risk quilt here, you have percentage of your customers within certain risk categories. Let's just say you want to go ahead and let's focus on the problem children. We'll go ahead and click, who are these 54 customers in my portfolio that are trending down? You go ahead and you click on here, and these are the options for our portfolio scoring. It's Boost. So you have anywhere from 50 cents per record all the way to $2 a record with credit decision and credit limit scoring in your basically in your portfolio. So these services like here are optional, but like I said, they're there and they're available if you want to utilize them. And like I said, that would be the cost if you desire to use them at your discretion.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Do you have, or I guess I could just go out to the site, but do you have anything that you can send me, PDF hard copy that I can read through, or should I just go to the site?
Yeah, no, I have PDF copies of everything that we just went over. So I'll send you everything that we did in this presentation. That way you have it for reference, as well as a summary email. And I'll also send you our standard 2-page order form via DocuSign. Are you familiar with DocuSign?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, so all you need to do is just complete that 2-page order form via DocuSign, and as soon as you do, I'll give you a username and password to have access to the unlimited credit reports like you saw, and you can do the scoring as well. And then as soon as you send your file over to us, we'll set you up with the monitoring as well.
Okay.
Sound fair enough?
Yeah. Send it to me. Let me read through it, and maybe we can. I'll respond to you in email.
All right, excellent. So I'm going to shoot that over to you in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So look out for it. And then when should I go ahead and follow up with you to go ahead and get you guys started?
Give me about a week to read through it.
Okay. So within a week, if I don't hear from you, I'll touch base.
Perfect. All right. Cool. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for your time, Divorce, and we look forward to welcoming you guys aboard to the Cortera Credit Exchange. If you have any other additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me, okay?
Will do. Thanks a lot, Chris. Take care.
You're welcome. You too. Bye-bye.